But let's jump into the first story, because the first thing that I want to discuss is something that has come up a couple times in the last few years, but it's coming up more and more right now because Fantastic Four is upon us.
Right, now that Marvel has the Fantastic Four, the 20th Century Fox deal that happened earlier this year, I should say, the Fantastic Four are now an option.
That's right.
And, they're pretty much guaranteed a sure thing at some point in the future.
Okay, we've been hearing about Fantastic Four happening. I mean, Emergency Awesome talks about Fantastic Four and, the next phases of the MCU all the time. What I find interesting is that when there's a picture to put up of like the Fantastic Four, if like Mr. Fantastic is, being discussed, and there's some type of like image that could be put on the screen, who is it that they put there?
You know who they don't use?
Who?
The two different cinematic versions of Fantastic Four that they've already had.
That's true. Yeah, you're not going to see Chris Evans or anything like that.
No,
you're going to see a couple other people.
We've got John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
Like 100% of the time.
Right.
I feel like they've gotten the role and they haven't even gotten the role yet.
It kind of reminds me of how before they picked Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, it was just kind of widely assumed by everybody that that's obviously the guy who needs to play Doctor Strange. And It just kind of happened because the stars aligned.
So we hope that the stars do align with this, but this kind of set us off on this path here to find other celebrities that have in the past almost gotten roles, because as it turns out, both John Krasinski and Emily Blunt have almost been casted as Marvel superheroes.
Yeah, they both came actually really close.
Really
to playing
close.
two of the main Avengers.
So we got a bunch of them to discuss right now. And let's start them off with this list. Who was John Krasinski almost casted as? And I don't even mean like almost. He had a suit that was tailored to his body.
Yeah, they were up at the costume part of the of the casting process. So it's like they
On
don't start
screen.
you with that. Yeah. So he made it a few rounds deep into the process.
He may have jumped over some stuff.
Right, as Captain America. He was testing for Steve Rogers. Pretty interesting. I don't know if I personally see it. I think he looks accurate enough.
I think he looks accurate. He has a personality too.
That's the part that I don't think he has.
You don't think so?
He's just too Jim. He's too much Jim Halpert for me, especially in a post-Jim world. Like, I mean, obviously he's an action hero now, so right. I just couldn't see him as Captain America. He doesn't have like that leader of men aspect.
Well, he didn't even think of himself as Captain America, because when he saw Chris Hemsworth as Thor, he realized comparing himself. And at the time, I mean, think of when this was happening. The casting of this was a while back. This is before he was bulking up for the different roles that he plays now, all these different action roles. He saw Chris and was like, oh no, this isn't for me.
Yeah, and that was like the peak of Hemsworth's early Thor appearance. He was still super ripped up in the long hair. And
this isn't Endgame Thor.
This isn't Thor Ragnarok with the short, funny Thor, fat Thor, or anything like that. This is peak buff, chiseled, ripped Thor. And yeah, that would make anybody kind of intimidated.
But Emily Blunt, this was totally new to me. Didn't know she almost got the role.
Black Widow.
I
could see it too. She kicks ass. Emily Blunt's hardcore. Like she could easily done Black Widow.
But Emily Blunt didn't get it.
Yeah, she had beaten Scarlett Johansson for the role, but then she dropped out and blamed scheduling conflict.
Yeah, this is a weird one because it's kind of hard to believe.
Right. I mean, she said that she's glad that she's not part of the Avengers and the MCU because she thinks that the role wouldn't have been important enough to the overall team. And I guess there's an argument to be made for that Black Widow kind of not one of the main Avengers. I mean, I think they've been fixing that more and more as we've gotten closer to Endgame, and obviously she's
getting her own movie soon.
She's getting the next movie is hers. Yeah.
But Emily Blunt, no go.
Right.
All right. Here's another one that you may not know. Tom Cruise. Now, Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Could you have seen that? Because this almost happened from 2000 to the mid 2000s before Iron Man 1 started production. We had Tom Cruise as the main pick.
Yeah, he was attached to the movie for a very long time while it was kind of being formulated and created and ironed out behind the scenes. Ironed out.
So, like, depending on how you look at it, fortunate or not, he was too busy when production actually started and he had to pass on the role.
It reminded me of how Channing Tatum has been attached to Gambit for like almost a decade now. But then, they're actors. They need to be doing other things, and they can't just, keep their schedule open for, an indefinite amount of time until this movie maybe or maybe not get made.
Right.
So it makes sense. They sign up for other movies. By the time the movie rolls along, they're already booked for something else, and they can't come back and do the superhero movie. So you get Robert Downey Jr. instead, and everything works out better.
Sometimes you also have actors who just look at the
we dodged
role.
a bullet, dude. No, Tom Cruise as Tony Stark would have been awful. I don't know. I couldn't see it.
I can't see it, man. I can't see it. There's in no way would that have been good. Sometimes they miss their opportunity, but other times the actor or actress looks at the role and they're like, nah, I don't want it. Like in Leonardo DiCaprio's case.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't realize this was an older movie. He was one of their choices to play Robin in Batman Forever. So this was like pre-Titanic DiCaprio. So it was kind of before he blew up, but he was
blowing up though.
Yes, he was already making a splash, I think, from Gilbert Grape. And they were looking. He looked at what was being created in Batman Forever.
You think he saw anything, or he just was like, "I'm not going to be Robin"?
The way I see it is, he just walked onto the set and looked around and saw all the neon and the motorcycle race and the bat nipples.
They wanted him to be Robin.
They really wanted him to play Robin. Yeah. And he looked. I just visualize him looking around and just turning around and walking out, being like, "I'm good. I'm gonna go make this boat movie.
I'm gonna go do Basketball Diaries."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He did Basketball Diaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a much better choice.
Well. And then that wasn't the only role he turned down. He was actually picked to play Spider-Man, but ended up passing on the role, and it ended up being given to Tobey Maguire, he's really good friends with.
And I remember hearing the buzz for him playing Riddler a while ago too. I'm glad that didn't really work out either.
Ooh, we're getting into some Batman characters here pretty soon. Hold tight. But let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, on the rise right now. I mean, he's in the biggest R-rated movie ever. We're going to get to that as well. But he wasn't always slated to play Joker. He was actually going to play somebody in the Marvel Universe.
They really wanted him for Doctor Strange, which I could have seen. I think he could have done Doctor Strange in a really cool way. Benedict Cumberbatch is almost like a Robert Downey Jr. kind of gift from above.
Right.
Like that person is just supposed to be that character. But I think Joaquin would have been really good as a Doctor Strange. He just didn't feel comfortable signing on to like the giant commitment in the contract for like 10 movies or whatever they made him sign.
That's a lot, man.
Right? I mean, how many movies has Cumberbatch even been in already? Like 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's a big commitment, and it's understandable, especially when the Joker movie was being solicited as a one-shot go at this character origin.
Yeah, that's easier to sign up for if you know it's just a one-time thing. Like, I can do that.
All right, now we're talking about Joker. Joker has been a character that has been almost played by so many people. So we went through a really, really nice list, and we picked out some of our favorites and ones that actually surprised us.
Right. There's Willem Dafoe was on this list.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe. How cool would that be? That guy kind of looks like the Joker, man.
Right. I don't think he can play Green Goblin and Joker. I think one of those they're too similar to to play both of them, but I think he could have done really, really good as the Joker.
So he lost out to Jack Nicholson. So you gotta, put yourself in here, the time frame, who he was going up against, because he would seem like a really good potential for that character.
Yeah.
I would think. But there's also some other people who have tried but failed to get that spot. I mean, Adrian Brody, this guy wants to be the Joker. He's practically begging. He tried twice.
Yeah, he wanted to play Joker in The Dark Knight and also for Suicide Squad. He was trying to get Joker 2 times, like the 2 most recent times it was available.
Yeah, I really wanted it. Unlike another actor that had an opportunity to play Joker but didn't want to do it, John Lithgow.
Yeah, apparently Tim Burton wanted him to play Joker for his first movie before Jack Nicholson came on board. But John Lithgow really wasn't feeling it, so it sounds like he sent in a bad audition tape on purpose or something like that. Like he did something to sabotage his own audition, so they kind of had no choice but to not pick him.
Did you say sandwich?
Did you say sandwich?
No, I was saying that before. Not now. Now I am saying sabotage.
Sandwich?
Sandwich? Sabotage? Sabotage. Yeah, he sabotaged himself. He said that's one of his worst acting submissions he's ever done.
I'd love to see it, though.
Yeah, me too. You know what else I would really like to see? Tim Curry doing the Joker voice. But the guy got bronchitis.
Think about it though. We could have had a complete, like, Mark Hamill almost didn't get the role. It was for the animated series.
Right.
Tim Curry had it, but he got sick.
Like he had that role.
Yeah.
Got sick.
So they got Mark Hamill instead, and now people say he's potentially the best Joker, like people like Russ.
That's true. Russ loves his Batman. And you know what? This next story, I was very, very surprised to hear. Never knew that this next celebrity, may he rest in peace, actually got the role of Joker, and something shady happened.
There was a bit of a behind-the-scenes battle going on during the creation of Batman, Tim Burton's Batman in 1989. They wanted Jack Nicholson for the role, so they offered the role of Joker to Jack Nicholson, but he kind of took a little while to decide. So they also offered the role to Robin Williams.
Williams accepted.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to be Joker. The dude was probably practicing.
Yeah, and then Jack Nicholson accepted because they didn't know that the offer had been made to the other actor. Neither of them knew that they were
Competing.
Right. The studio went with Jack Nicholson, and Robin Williams felt so burned by that he actually refused to work for WB until they apologized to him.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, it's kind of sad, and it makes you think about all the other times that must have happened behind the scenes, like those kind of politics,
Right.
the behind the scenes scheming that goes on in Hollywood.
So I didn't know about that one. I want to know from the community if there's any other ones that we may have missed. I mean, there's a lot of stories out there. I'm thinking they may have some ideas. Put them in the comment section below. It'll enter you to win a giveaway. We have 2 giveaways to announce from last week's video. Shout out to Shane Lorison. We're going to be sending you this copy of ASM 315. Great McFarlane cover, Hydra Man appearance. We're also going to be sending Burdell a copy of Show's End #1, the Comic Tom exclusive.